All right. Let me undeafen myself on Discord. All right, we're live.
Hello.
We're live.
Hello.
Hopefully, I know this. Sometimes my computer acts funny. Are we not moving on the Twitch?
I am logging into my personal account, so we're
Okay.
not both on Serious Play.
Gotcha.
To artificially inflate our watcher count.
We got a follow.
Amen to that.
Thanks for the follow.
Thanks for the
wait,
follow.
No, actually, you need to ban him.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
one of the?
Yeah, that looks like host 00312. That looks like a bot.
Well, it's probably a bot, but is it one of those hate bots? Likely.
I don't know.
You think?
I was watching someone, and he saw something that looked exactly like that, and he was like, "I have to ban that person." So.
Okay, then yeah.
Ren, if you want to get on that,
Yeah, I'll do it.
thank
you for the follow.
I'm not sure how to do it on my end. That's the problem. Unless I have
No, it's fine. I'll go into moderator view so that I'm ready to go.
Perfect. Because you know what? I have so many haters, and they're always trying to take me down.
Strongest coffee
God
fan.
damn it, dude.
You banned Streamlabs.
I did what?
You banned Streamlabs.
That banned Streamlabs.
I was gonna say
That's
that might
funny.
be me. Welcome, all the 2 people that are watching, aka everybody on the stream.
Oh, hey, they might be VOD viewers. Who knows?
It's true. Welcome, VOD viewers. It's a Tuesday night, so I'm kind of tired, and I had like a rough day teaching today because it was a little crazy. So I'm excited to sit down and play not some actual games. Well, we're doing kind of a meta game. Let's do it. Let's call it that. My name is David Kutchik, and I am a PhD student in my 2nd year at UW Milwaukee in the English department in Play and H, Media, Cinema, and Digital Studies. I'm also the social media director for Serious Play. So if you see anything on our Twitter and you think it's funny, which you should see everything on our Twitter and think it's funny, it's because of me.
Oh my god. You gotta pump yourself up, right? That's how that
Yeah,
works.
You do.
Hey, you gotta do that. Little self-promo.
I think I'm funny. I literally will like post a tweet on our Twitter account and look at it like 5 minutes later and be like, I'm so funny. Okay, I'm joined by 2 lovely people today.
I am Z Morgan. Just so that the German accent is fine. I am the morning, but no, I am Morgan. I am a cultural anthropology master's student here at UWM. I hold no title except I upload things to YouTube.
Yeah,
that is your title.
No documented title, but you're our archivist right now.
Yes.
We're doing titles. Ooh. Hey, I'm Ren. I'm a master's student in English, apparently, that I can barely remember it at this point. Wow. I am technically what we call the platform director. Essentially, that just means I'm a producer here. And you guys probably are tired of dealing with my ass on the stream because, God, I feel like I stream a lot.
I didn't know we were doing those kind of streams.
Oh my god. Actually, really, I feel like all of us have been streaming a lot this summer, and now we're going right into fall.
I haven't been streaming all that much because I've been doing the Lord's work. But
The Lord's work.
What are you, smiting demons?
Yeah.
David, do you have like a
I've been
side
busy.
job you're not
I've been busy.
telling us about?
Wait, you're smiting demons and you're not in Doctors and DMs being a pally?
No,
I'm
that's witchcraft. I
disappointed.
don't agree with that. No, I know if I got into D&D, it would just be a nonstop, deluge of D&D. I would be Casey, and I'd be in 8 D&D groups for the rest of my life. So, but today we're doing something fun to celebrate the return of Fan Game Follies. We are going to be talking about some Pokemon stuff because I'm the resident Pokemon expert. And specifically today, we're going to be talking about the Pokemon battle system and how kind of crazy it is. And so we're going to play a little game where I'm going to challenge Morgan and Ren to see if they can deduce the correct Pokemon type matchups. And then,
Oh boy.
and then we're also, if we have time, which I think we probably will, we'll explore a little bit of Pokemon Reborn, who liked my tweet that I posted today, so that's awesome.
Fantastic.
A fan game, and we're going to look at some of the field effects that they add onto the system, to talk a little bit about how modders and modding communities add difficulty to games. Not just in the typical way you might think of, where like, oh, this does more damage or this does less damage, right? But very very specific and very detail-oriented mods for increasing the difficulty. So the first thing I want to do is I want us all to talk about our experiences playing Pokemon. So I'm the expert.
my
I've played
God.
every single generation. I think I've played every single like paired game. You know how it would be like red and blue and then yellow. So I've played red, or I've played blue and yellow. I've played gold and crystal, etc., etc. I've played all the mainline games very much so, and I've also played a couple of the offshoots like Pokemon Conquest, which was for the Game Boy or for the DS. It was very good. So I know in my soul all of these Pokemon type matchups, and I could do this in my sleep. So it'll be fun to see how everybody else does. So what is your experience with Pokemon, Morgan?
As a kid, I played Red and Blue and Silver. I went back to my Silver a while ago, and the only box, I was like, oh, let's see what Pokemon I had. And I named all of my Pokemon Poop, and I don't know why.
Classic.
I was just like, what? Why, younger me? Why? I didn't play the GBA games I had, but I didn't play. I played all of Diamond. I played that thing to death. I played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue. I played all of X and Y. I boycotted Black and White. X and Y was after Black and White. I own 2 games. I own Sun and Moon, and I own the other one, the remakes of Ruby and Sapphire. And those are the last games that I owned and had. And then I watch like, oh, hey, we're frozen on stream.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my cursor right now, so I'm kind of poking around. So
Okay,
sorry about
cool.
that. My cursor is invisible as of this moment, so.
It'll be fine. And I've watched like speedrunners do like or weird challenges with Pokemon. So.
Oops. You guys don't want to see me. Okay.
But yeah.
You're going to see my big face in a second.
Your huge face,
My
is it
big
bigger than wonderful?
All right. And Bren, what is your experience with the
So-
Pokemon?
God, it's such a weird history. So I played, Leaf Green was my first Pokemon game on the I didn't have the Game Boy like it was backlit. I think it's the SP is the one that like flips up like this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
frankly, I'm glad I didn't because the Game Boy Advanced is better. It's more ergonomic, all right? And that mattered to me as a kid. So I had my Game Boy Advanced and I had my little Leaf Green cartridge, which I still have. And I played it to death. I think I restarted that game like 7 or 8 times. I think I beat the Elite Four like twice in those periods. It was something to do. I think
Oh my gosh.
when I got the DS, I also got Pearl. And I think I also played Mystery Dungeon, which I liked a lot. I found the gameplay repetitive, but like
Dungeon.
Mystery Dungeon was better than Pearl in my opinion.
I
And
loved-
then
I played Mystery Dungeons.
how should I say? Yeah, the thing about Pearl also, maybe this will be a fun story. So, we got Pearl and my sister was also into Pokemon and had picked up like, I think it was X and Y or something. And somebody had like Game Sharked the piss out of X and Y, this copy that she had gotten at like GameStop or something. And they had like 20 shiny Arceuses in this thing.
Of course.
So we were like, well, fuck, you can only have like 1 or 2 saves on this, and we want to have more saves. So we have to make a choice between keeping these Pokemon, getting more saves. And so I think what us and our infinite wisdom as kids did is we booted up the Pokemon Wii Coliseum game, and we downloaded all of those Pokemon into the Coliseum game, thinking this was a good idea of how to store these Pokemon. And then we deleted the save. And it would have worked, except our Wii broke. And also... So there is a Wii that if one could get the data off of it with the correct disc, you could in fact get 20 shiny Arceuses, but it's unlikely that that is ever going to happen. And Pokemon, since Pearl has been a love-hate relationship for me. I didn't really like the performance part of Pearl, and a lot of my friends were super into Pokemon, were into IV and EV training and that sort of stuff. And my little brain was like, no, that's too complex. And so I just shut myself out from it and just played Leaf Green over and over again.
I loved Diamond. I really like Diamond, mostly because of the mining. Going around and making secret bases, because my Ruby cart we got from GameStop, and it hadn't been wiped, and it had like 20 level 100 Pokemon. So I was not deleting that save, and I wiped the floor with my level 100 Salamence, level 100 Melodic, and level 100 Metacross. And
Nice.
I also had a level 100 Flygon.
You can see that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to do some sneaky stuff in the background, and everyone in the VOD's gonna see this. Sorry.
You're real sneaky when you're just down there.
I was gonna post on Looking for Good that we were live, so.
I already did that. You're good.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah, that's what I was doing earlier.
So yeah, I had a similar experience. That's why I never played Ruby, but everyone loved Emerald so much that when I got the remakes, I started playing them, and I went, wow. This is a really boring game. Because I never had actually played that generation. But yeah.
So we all have different experiences in terms of doing this. And so this will be fun. This will be a good little refresher before we get into some of the fan game stuff. So what
I guarantee you, I will not have any idea.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share this with you guys, and so I mean, it's not like anybody can copy the link off of this. It's not like anybody's gonna see this anyways. But I'm gonna copy the link and post it in our Discord chat.
Looking at you, chat. Come join the Serious Play ARG, where David's just posted the first link and is trying to throw you off the trail.
A Serious Play ARG.
A Serious Play RG, if you will.
Yeah. And so what it is... Oh, goodness. That's a large link.
Thanks, David.
So what I want us all to do is, I'm not really going to do anything because obviously I have all of these memorized, unfortunately, because that's my life. But what you guys can do on the left hand side or on the right hand side here, where it says 0, half, 1, and 2, those are all of like the different effectiveness of the moves. And so on the left hand side, on the y-axis is the attacking type. So, normal, fighting, flying, poison, that's the attacking type. And then the defending type is across the top. And what I want us to do is to put in all of these boxes where how effective we think it's going to be. So, normal to normal, I'll give everybody a hint, is just neutral for neutral damage, right? So that's just a 1, and you can just copy and paste the box. But flying against Ghost is 0.
We're only in view only.
Oh, you only have view only? Shoot.
Yeah. That's just in sharing.
Yep. Thing. Editor. There we go. And so what I want us to do, while we have a fun little chat about whatever, we can talk about whatever we want, is to put in all of the effective versus super effective versus not very effective versus not effective at all. And I want you to figure it out.
Ren doesn't even know. Ren, you don't even know what fairy is, do you?
I'm aware that fairy exists. God, if I know what any of those fucking matchups look like. Here's the thing, is like I find type matching in games to be like a subtly ideological like construct.
That's what we're talking
where
about.
It's constantly this play at like whatever the culture thinks is relevant to deciding these kind of benefits or detractions. It's the thing with like Genshin, right? Like there's some like level of it makes sense, right? You can't swirl a geo reaction because like fuck, the wind's not strong enough to pick up a boulder, right? But like what do the different combinations actually accomplish? That's, more or less a cultural thing. And so sometimes there's this stupid nonsense combinations that probably make more sense to somebody who's from Japan than they do to me, because I don't understand that shit. I don't have enough footing in that.
Yeah, and there's some really great videos out there that talk about how some of these type matchups are kind of different in Japan, because basically I think the biggest difference in Japan versus the US is that the dark type in Japan, like basically their word for dark, the word they use for dark in terms of like Pokemon type is very similar to the Japanese word for evil. And so, like, dark type is meant to be for Pokemon that, like, fight in a, like, unfair or, like, backhanded or, like, a skeezy kind of way, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, their moves are all about, like, manipulation and all that stuff. And so, like, for us, dark type could just mean, like, oh, they're dark and they're...
I never knew what the difference between ghost and dark was. Or, like, what the point of the difference was. Like, why is Darkrai, who eats your memory, a dark type, whereas, like, Haunter, who also eats memories,
is a ghost type. And there's also one that... There's Drowsy, which also eats memories, who's a psychic type.
He's anonymous Ifrit.
Anonymous
Ifrit. That's what Ren is. He's anonymous.
Morgan, you're anonymous.
Well, that doesn't make sense because I'm in as I should just be in as my account name.
Who knows? I know that
Psychic is 2x on Ghost, so because I've played enough Leaf Green to remember that one. I know that.
I know fighting, and I know Psychic against fighting.
So what's the deal with? So I mean I don't recall Pokemon being a game where like all of the types always have resistance to themselves or always have like are neutral to themselves.
Correct.
Which makes that fucking middle column even like honestly probably the trickiest thing, because like I mean flying versus flying, my gut is to say there's nothing there, but I mean like who the fuck knows?
I'm pretty sure my brain goes, I knew that fighting against fighting is 2 times. And then I just go, everything else is the same. Dragon might be 2x, 2x.
I could have sworn
that... is ridiculous, but...
Yeah, I could have sworn that, like, electric was immune to itself, essentially.
Electric is immune to ground.
Oh, it's immune to ground. No, isn't that the other way around? Because that's one I actually understand. Because that one's rooted in, like, science, kind of.
Science!
Yeah, so just to make it clear, so like if ground is like 0 to electric, so electric is the attacking type. So on the left side you'll do the electric, and then like you'll match it with the ground on the top, because the ground is the defending type.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, there are like some that are really obvious. Like I imagine, again, I could be wrong, but I imagine that fire, the ice is or fire is 2x on ice when ice is defending. Super effective, if you will, because that just makes sense. And I remember like the triad here, right? Like the whole point of fire, water, and grass is that they affect each other in a pretty easy, triad.
Water is effective against fire.
Yeah.
Grass is effective against water.
Water.
And then fire is strong against grass.
Yep.
And then, but then no one takes grass, because all the first gyms are rock. So if you want to have a good early game, you take water. Or you can take fire if you want a good late game, because fire is pretty good against everything.
Yeah, fire's attacking water.
David's sitting there like, you're wrong, but it's okay.
Well, I mean, it also depends on the game too, right? Like in the first game, grass is the most effective across, because you have a rock gym, you have a grass or a water gym, you have... Honestly, Venusaur's good against the grass gym because Venusaur's half poison, right? Oop, I just spoiled something. And then the last gym is a ground gym, right? So like Venusaur is good against at least 4 of the gyms, and then it depends on the generation as to what starter is going to be the most effective.
I remember I had also the issue of the danger curve, difficulty curve in Pokemon games. I remember I had in Diamond, I just had like a level 50 Infernape, and he just killed everything. It didn't matter what he was attacking, he killed everything. Also, I put in Ice is 2 times against Dragon, and then Fairy is 2 times against Dragon.
See, that's one of those things that I don't get, right? Like why the fuck is Ice effective against Dragon? Like, give me a reason.
Well, you're freezing its wings so it can't fly.
It depends on the type of dragon. It's got fire.
Maybe that's the reason.
Some are Dragonfire dual types.
That's true. And that's another, like, obviously the system starts stacking on itself, and it's like, well, do you cover disadvantages? I mean, we could talk about building an elemental system in a game forever, but I mean, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because we're working on Pokemon.
We got electric versus water is 2 times, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right, too.
And water against rock is 2 times. I'm looking at bug and steel, and I'm like, I don't know anything about bugs and steel. I could have sworn that, like, bugs are resistant to poison. That would make sense.
So I'm gonna give you a little hint on this one. Bug and poison were both super effective against each other in the first generation. We're doing the modern generation. So
okay.
Oh, hi Boldedash. Hey, thanks for joining. Boldedash says maybe because lizards just don't like the cold.
That's actually fair. I won't like disagree with the reptilian.
Yeah, it might be like dragons are the only like fully reptile type, because there are like water types that aren't reptiles.
Monster Hunter does the same shit, and like not like the same shit, but the same shit. Like there's an elder dragon in Monster Hunter. It's a fucking unicorn. It's a fucking unicorn. It's like, I love this. It's a great design, and I understand elder dragon doesn't mean dragon per se, but like, because everything's a wyvern in Monster Hunter, but you're also sitting there thinking like, yeah, these type matchups with my weapons and shit, it really makes a lot of sense. And I swear to God, the only thing that makes any sense in that damn game is that Elder Seal is super effective essentially super effective, but it's a weird debuff system against elder dragons.
I think normal is super effective against ice.
Is it really?
Or ice is super effective against normal. There's one that it's really good against, and I don't remember what it is.
I'm gonna go grab some water and I'll be back.
Chat, help us cheat, please.
Boldedash, give them some hints because they are very much struggling, which I love.
I'll be right back. Amberly needs me to open a jar.
Oh wait, never mind. All right, I'll stick around if Ren's heading out for a little bit. So Morgan, is there any type that you're like really like feel solid in? Like, I fully understand this type.
Probably dragon, because dragon is just good against everything, or just in general good, and then it has 2 weaknesses to ice and fairy. Because that's why they added fairy into the game. It's because they needed a thing.
A balance.
Or a balance.
What do they call it? A nerf. They needed to nerf dragon a little bit.
They needed to nerf dragons without actually nerfing dragons. So just add another type. I don't know anything about...
Boldedash has given some hints in the chat. Normal isn't strong against anything.
Oh, maybe ice is really good against normal then. Is steel good against fighting? Or is steel good against like ground and rock? I don't know. Steel has to be good against something.
I'm excited. Boldedash and anybody else who's here who knows a lot about Pokemon, it's like really fun to see other people like try to figure it out. Because I remember I used to have like the Pokemon Crystal like guide.
I also do that.
And I like memorized way back in like 2001, 2002 what all these things were. And then Fairy obviously took a little
professor?
Bit. Yes. I could be a Pokemon professor.
Are you a registered Pokemon professor? Because that's a thing you can do, is my understanding. But I think it's for the card game.
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm not good at TCG stuff. Like I know the video games and that's about it. And I don't know Pokemon Go all that
Pokemon
much.
professor, just to do it.
I will be a professor and I'll teach a class about Pokemon. It'll be fun.
Well, that's fair. I guess that counts.
Sure, Boulder Dash. What is ice strong against? I think it's strong against normal. And I know it's strong against dragons.
Boulder Dash, don't give them too many hints. Because this is fun. I like watching them struggle a little bit.
I have no idea
Thanks, David.
About ghosts or darkness or steel or...
Alright, now I'm going to get some water. I'll be back.
I'm very lost about
Goose! Boulder Dash has goosed us. Okay, so Ren, let's go this through a systematic way.
Okay, we're gonna do this in a systematic way.
We're gonna do a systematic way.
Oh, we're gonna do systematic. Okay.
I don't know anything about normal. We'll come back to normal. But fighting. I don't think fighting would be strong against flying.
I have such a hard time because fighting isn't like, isn't fighting strong against psychic? Isn't that correct?
No, psychic. It's very weak against.
It's the other way around.
It's also very weak against fighting.
What?
Fighting.
Fighting is weak against fighting?
Yeah, because you punch each other.
They're 2e.
2x.
Well, there. It's fixed it.
No, that was right.
No?
This is attacking, and this is defending. So we're going this way.
Right, and you said fighting is weak against fighting, right?
Well, no. Fighting is super effective against fighting, I guess. Okay. I was going the other way. If you're defending, you're weak against fighting, you know? What was it?
Oh, you're saying fighting is strong. Well, we do and we don't. So I have a history playing Pokemon, but I played Leaf Green over and over again. All right, it's been a little while.
We have light experience, I would say.
Morgan is more experienced than me and has filled out most of this so far.
All of the times twos are from me, I think.
David is a sadist and he hates us. That's what this is.
Okay, so fighting and flying. I don't think fighting has anything against fighting.
I think was our friend in chat saying that ice is super effective against flying, because based on your comment about dragons, that would make sense. Like, I would buy that explanation in the context of flying. I don't necessarily buy.
They did take my clue about ice types. They gave me a swan, so maybe that means that flying is
yeah. Well, the worst we can be is wrong, and we're already making David very happy. And I mean, at this point, there's no risk of validating David more, because David's about as validated as he can ever fucking be. I imagine
I don't think they're strong against bug. I don't think they're strong against bug.
I really want fighting to be strong against rock.
I don't think fighting works against ghosts, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure physical damage types just do not hit ghost at all. Yeah. Like, I'm almost certain of that. But the thing is also I'm unclear about what in Pokemon is a quote physical damage type, because like normal flying and fighting all seem relatively physical to me. So, but then like, is steel physical?
So no, it used to be in Gen 4. This changed, but it used to be in Gens 1, 2, and 3 that certain types were physical or special. So normal, fighting, poison, flying, bug, steel, rock, ground were all physical, and the rest were all special. In Gen 4, what happened is, because the balancing was just kind of weird, like there were some water-type Pokemon, like Kingler, like the big crab Pokemon, like it would make sense because it's got a huge crab claw that his attack would be higher than a special attack, right? But he was a water type. So to balance things a little more, they changed it from the 4th generation onward, where each individual type isn't a physical or a special kind of move anymore. It was each specific move within that type is either physical or special. So something like Crab Hammer, which is a water type move, which is where like Kingler, hits them with a claw, basically, is, a physical water type move. Whereas something like Bubble Beam, which is where you shoot jets of water at someone, that's a special kind of move. And generally how it is physical moves make physical contact, whereas special moves have some kind of like energy contact. And that's kind of the difference between the two. Generally.
Like fighting is strong against fairy.
It's very weird.
I don't know why I'm thinking this, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that fighting is strong against fairy.
Was this entire activity dependent on us not noticing that you added all of the answers to the other pages on the matrix?
Don't look at them. Sorry, I copied this over from someone, so don't look. And don't look at previous copies.
No, it's fine. I haven't looked at this other pages. I just noticed that they were all there.
I wanted to find like one of these where it was like easily able for all of us to fill it at once, so I just found this Excel sheet. I'm gonna delete.
No, it's a good Excel sheet. That's just funny to me. I was like, oh, well, there it is.
Sounds like bullying. I don't know. I have this feeling that fighting is strong against fairies. I don't know. I don't remember. I played X and Y.
Bolderdash says fighting strong against fairies sounds like bullying.
It does. It totally does. But that's what my brain is telling me.
Morgan, I'm thinking your brain might be mixing things up a little bit.
Oh, it's very good.
You have to do all the fairy ones, Morgan, because I do not understand. Like, that is it. I'm out. I'm pretty sure fire is. Oh, you already got the bug one. That's good. That's good. You got that.
I'm pretty sure fire is good against bug.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure fire is good against bug.
Is fighting good against ground or rock? I think it is. No, wait.
I want to say it's good against rock, but that's only because I want it in my brain to be like a guy karate chopping a rock, essentially, and the rock splitting in half. Very Bruce Lee.
Rock smash is a fighting.
Yeah, I say.
Yes.
I say a lot with a lot of these, your gut is right. So like fighting against rock that's right.
Punch the rock.
Punch the rock.
I don't think it'd be good against ground though. That seems kind of silly.
So like some of these, they do have a little more of like intuitive thing.
Fighting against fighting makes sense to me. That they'd punch each other real good.
I don't imagine fighting would be very good against dragon, if I'm going to be honest.
You don't want to go.
Like, I would put half on that.
You don't think monks are good against Bahamut?
No, I don't think monks are very good against Bahamut. I wonder what would give me that idea, Morgan.
All right.
Are you guys done with the normal row?
No, we skipped.
No, we're just fucking around.
Okay, I'm gonna put in some ones just to help out.
Okay.
Flying, this is gonna take us a really long time. I hope you know that.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna help out with the fighting.
Every one of these.
All right, let's go with dragon. The dragon attacking. What is dragon super effective again?
And I'm not sure who put the 0 for flying here, but normal is normal against flying.
Oh, I thought normal moves couldn't hit flying. Is that just ground or rock?
No, you're thinking of Magic the Gathering. Okay, normal has gotta be
Dash says if you
not
ask
effective against steel.
If you ask them,
sorry.
If you ask them, the Boulder Dash will give you hints. So feel free to use your resources.
All right, we'll use our three phone a friends. I'm just gonna assume that normal attacks are bad against steel and rock.
Correct. And
because
I'm gonna
like
give
you punch a rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a hint here. Steel has the most resistances, so the half.
That makes sense.
Give me some dragoon.
That makes sense.
Some dragon hints, Boulder Dash. I think dragon's actually good against steel. That sounds right in my brain.
I'm just gonna trust my gut on this. I don't know what the fuck a fairy is. Like I said, it's all you on that one, Morgan. I have no fucking clue.
Honestly, it's not about being right. It's about, just guessing. Because the thing we're going to talk about today is, like Ren was saying before, right? Like, there's obviously some, because it's a system created by humans, right? There's some ideology or, in normal everyday language, right? There's some, like, purpose and reasoning and thought process behind why it is what it is. So, like, just go with your guts, and we'll talk about it.
I think Ghost is good against, or Dark is good against Ghosts. Or it's the other way around. Ghosts are good against Dark.
I think like what I remember, and they may have changed Ghost around because I understand Ghost and Psychic have had a lot of like weird changes over the years. Mm-hmm. That at least in Leaf Green, Ghost had the most other types that couldn't hit it, but almost everything that could hit Ghost just destroyed it immediately.
Yeah.
That's because Hunter and Gengar and Ghastly all have very low defenses.
I played all of X and Y with a Gengar because of the Wonder Trade, and I got a Ghastly. I was just throwing up Wurmple, and because what happened with Wonder Trade is people would Ivy.
I'll be back quick.
they were Ivy.
Ask Boulder
training
Dash for
stuff.
help.
So they were throwing all of their bad Ivies into Wonder Trade, and I was like, have some Wormpools. Let's do some Wonder Trade. And I got a Ghastly, and I was so happy. I had the most OP Gengar ever. He was so over leveled because I loved him so much. I was like, oh yes, Gengar. Gengar's one of my favorites.
Boulder Dash brings up the psychic thing, and I do know the anecdotal story about the code issues on the first cartridges for yellow and blue and red that they meant to program in a weakness for psychic. I can't remember. I think it was just for psychic flat. And so once you got an Alakazam, you were just like, yep, that's it. That's the game. They forgot to program in the weakness, so that's it. Ultimate Pokemon Alakazam.
I'm just gonna like do this. I'm just gonna put a bunch of halves in there. I think you can't poison steel, and bugs against steel just doesn't work. Maybe ghosts? Oh, I think psychics are good against steel.
Oh yeah, because they can bend the spoon.
They can bend the spoon. Yeah.
Can bend the spoon.
It's
Yeah.
like bend the knee, except bend the spoon.
Yeah, exactly. So when flying hits a fighting type, I can't imagine terribly much happens, to be honest.
Yeah, it might be just one.
Yeah, I don't really think poison. I can't imagine like a lot of these have a lot of effect. I can't imagine flying is very effective against ground types, so.
Well,
Maybe it's
ground
effective
types-
against ground, but not effective against rock. I don't know.
I don't know. I think steel.
You would be very wrong about the flying type. Okay, so apparently
You would be very.
I would be wrong. Let's get rid of some of these. About the flying type.
A couple
It's
of
very
them
good
were
against
right.
fighting.
A couple of them were right.
Couple
So
of
the
them were
flying, the poison, and the ground were all one.
Okay.
I think ice is good against. Is ice good against steel?
I don't remember actually. Logic would dictate that neither ice nor fire were particularly good against steel, but I imagine that the colloquial thought process about the effects of things on steel would make me think that no, actually, it's either resistant or super effective for both of those.
Oh, maybe maybe electric is super effective against steel. But no, this doesn't make any
I'm
sense. There's so many
sorry.
times twos.
I'll just let Morgan, you can pick which one we work on from now on. That way we don't
Boulder
feel
Dash makes an interesting
confused,
point, and
though.
I would agree with Boulder Dash, is that y'all keep jumping to random ones and it's confusing. And that's
All
what
right,
I'm
let's do-
saying.
Let's do steel as a defending type. That's what I'm working on. We'll just do steel. So steel has like all these. I'm doing halve. Because you
Yeah,
were
we're doing
like, oh, it
steel.
has a lot of halves. And I'm like, all right, here's a bunch of halves. You can't poison steel.
Yeah, there's no. Hold
can't-
on. Would you
know?
put it at half then, or at 0 for poison?
I don't think anything doesn't affect steel. Because that doesn't make any sense.
Well, but I mean, it
Don't give
kind
me that
of
look,
does.
David. I see you. I see you.
I mean, if you put me in front of a steel I-beam, I don't think I can poison that. So
Okay, maybe you make a good point. You make a valid point.
That is correct. It's 0.
Well, is bug 0 or is ghost 0? Cause like you just phase through steel. I don't know.
I mean, but the way I think of it, at least, I think I've got this right at least. Like it's like if these two things were to come in contact, would one of these things be able to stop this other thing? So like the fact that you can phase through steel would lead me to believe that Ghost is actually more effective against steel instead of less effective.
Well, like
you know?
Ghost in the Machine sort of thing, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, kind of like that. But it's entirely possible that the answer is just that it's just it's 1x. And that's
Okay.
it. But like, I mean, like the way I'm trying to like figure this out in my head is like, if I put these two things in a cage match, who wins? You know,
I think
it's not like a
fire-
good way of figuring it
fire-
out, but it kind of works.
Yeah, it does.
How many? Is there a system for how many times twos and how many halves and how many?
That's a good
zeros there are?
question.
I
Is
mean,
Pokemon balanced, David?
I would argue yes.
Okay.
I would argue yes, it is balanced. The vast
having-
majority of things are one by one, especially when you
Okay.
when you use physical, or like more of the physical attacks. So like the normal fighting, flying, etc. Most of them are ones.
Okay.
I was thinking electric and physics, psychic may or may not be super effective against steel.
That makes sense. I would imagine that
gonna say,
grass
like,
is resistant,
Yeah, it's resistant to grass.
or it's resistant to grass. I don't. Water's a tricky one because like I would think hydro pump would be super effective, but I would also think that a weak ass little squirt ain't gonna do shit. But that's not how a Pokemon works.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's more kind of like Ren was saying, like it's kind of like the phase of it almost, rather than like the strength, right, or the amount of right, because like with that logic,
Very
like
anything to it.
water wouldn't be effective against rock because you put a drop of water on a mountain and it doesn't do anything, right? So like
Yeah.
it's less about amount and it's more about kind of phase and that kind of stuff.
See, I'm thinking like, well,
Elemental.
ice could be. I think ice is maybe one.
I would imagine that the way that they're constructing steel in their head is essentially, oh, this thing is temperature resistant.
I'm really thinking of just like Aaron, because that is the
So
only
it'd be either,
steel
like,
type
one
Pokemon I
or
know of.
two.
And so I'm like, will be what? I said of one,
I think they put 1 or 1/2. I wouldn't think it would be like super effective.
but I feel like it is actually super effective because my brain is telling me it is, but I also have no idea.
So Morgan,
Ice has-
I'm gonna give you this hint. A lot of what you are remembering is like flopped.
Ah, I see.
So
You must
when
have been a
Like-
really good Pokemon trainer, Morgan.
I just threw things at bosses, and sometimes they died, and sometimes they won. I just remember there is an interaction that is painful.
yes, so you're right. There's an interaction where one is super effective against the other, and one
Maybe
is not very
like-
effective against the other. But sometimes you're flipping them.
All right, Ice.
Well, that's
come here.
interesting because what that implies is that what Morgan is
Yeah.
remembering from playing the game in their childhood is, or excuse me, in her childhood. For some reason, my brain goes like, oh yeah, I'm gonna default to they for you. I don't know why.
That's fine. It's fine. You can say they. I default to he, so everyone's just he, which is a bad thing. But my brain just goes, it says he, so it's okay. My brain's bad.
But what I was gonna say is like that. What that implies to me, at least, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, is that most people who have like a glancing kind of hit on Pokemon remember the affect of getting smacked real hard, but don't actually remember any of the systems that occur underneath the hood at all.
Yeah, that's
so,
pretty
like-
much. Yeah.
Haha, affect, I guess, which is cool. I mean, I would not have thought of this as like an effective system, but I guess it is.
I think we got steel done. How does steel look, David?
Okay, so I'll honestly, a lot of it is looking very good. So normal and flying are half, fighting is 2 times, ground.
Punchy ice?
So ground is actually double effective.
But why? I guess you can smash.
Okay, that's a weird one.
I'm not exactly sure. Rock is a half.
Okay. That's
Bug
kinda
is a half.
physical.
Ghost used to be a half, but now it is only one time with Gen
Okay.
6. Gen 6 was the last time any type changes were made, and in that gen, both Ghost and Dark, which used to be half effective, are now just one time effective.
Okay. So okay.
Steel is half against
steel
itself.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you're gonna see kind of a big line, diagonal, where a lot of you'll see a lot of halves there. Fire is super effective, so Ren was right on the right track there.
We're melting steel.
Yeah, it's that
Yes.
fucking Todoroki shit. Like,
Yep.
that's the best thing I can give it is for some reason we've convinced ourselves, or there's this image in popular culture that you can like melt through steel really easily, or you can freeze steel and it'll shatter or something. And like, no, actually, it's an incredibly like temperature flexible material. Like it ain't going anywhere unless you can put it through a couple thousand Kelvin or some shit.
Yeah, water is neutral. Grass is half. Electric is also neutral.
I see. That was like a 50-50 for me. It's like either it's neutral or it's super effective.
Yeah. Psychic is actually half.
Oh,
Ice is half.
but
Dragon
were
is
you
also
saying
half.
that psychic does not bend the spoons?
Yeah, are you
Maybe it's not
saying-
made out of steel. Maybe they're made out of like
Are
bronze.
you saying that
Oh, yeah.
the Pokemon equivalent of jet fuel does not melt steel beams?
No.
And fairy's half. Okay.
And fairy is also half. So the
half,
reason,
fairy
part of the reason
half,
why they took
yeah.
the ghost and the dark out as 1 times 1 instead of times a half is because with the new fairy type, it also being half, it just became too OP. So.
That's fair.
And like Dash mentions, steel is super effective against ice. So, and actually, what you'll see as you start going along with the list is that you'll see usually the opposite is true. So, like, if, steel, if ice isn't very effective against steel, then steel is very effective against ice. But steel is an interesting type to start with because it has a lot of resistances, but it also... It's not always 1-to-1. It's kind of a weird type.
Yeah.
Are you all done
Like,
with the fighting attacking type?
Yes, I
so.
think we're
Okay, so
except
we're
for
gonna-
fairy, which I'll let Morgan fill
I'll
in.
just one.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that fighting bullies fairy.
So fighting is super effective against normal.
Oh, it is.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
I guess
I
like
mean-
that's trained versus untrained, essentially.
Yeah.
Fighting versus fighting is ×1. These
Really?
three
I
are right.
thought fighting against fighting was ×2 because like that was a cool thing that they were super effective against each other.
Oh, there are some types that are like that, but not fighting.
Oh, okay.
Poison is a half. Ground is ×2.
Okay,
And
so you
rock.
punch the ground.
Oh wait, no, just kidding.
Oh.
I was thinking of ground and rock. Ground is ×1. Yep, and then fighting against rock. Yep, that's ×2.
Yeah.
Fighting is actually bad against a bug.
Okay,
Wait,
so that's a
why?
weird one.
I don't know
Because,
why.
like,
bugs.
I would have thought that like because a lot of this I'm looking at it I'm thinking okay well given the like depiction of martial arts in Japan I would think that the like I can catch this tiny thing with my hand thing would make it like super effective or something, right? Because that's a cultural as I understand it touchstone of like the kung fu movie. But like I guess not. I guess it didn't transfer in that trope.
Oh, also I forgot. Flying, it's also half effective against flying. Not very effective against
Okay,
flying.
that I can see.
Because like it's flying around.
Yep. Doesn't affect ghost. 2 times against
fighting.
steel. Neutral against fire, water, grass. It's also neutral against electric.
Okay.
That would make sense for like the starting Pokemons.
Psychic gets bad against. Yep. Ice it's also ×2 against, which is good. Dragon it is neutral.
Okay.
And then dark it is actually super effective against.
Our friend Dash says he thinks that fighting and bug was neutral, but I guess David has the answer right here.
According to my where I got this from, their fighting is not very effective against bug. According to Bulbapedia, which is kind of the seen as the source. And then for fairy, it's also a half against fairy.
Yeah. I guess if it's half against psychic, it makes sense half against fairy because fairy and psychic are kind of somewhat mirrored.
Yes, they are very similar with a lot of their type matchups, but some of them are different.
Plural, I guess, or parallel. Whereas like dark and psychic are kind of mirrored. So.
So then, where do you want to go next, Morgan? So we're on the same page. Because I'll just do whatever.
Let's do the starter type. So let's go fire, water, grass, and
Fire.
electric.
Okay.
All right, so fire
yeah,
effective.
it's funny that you include electric and the starter types.
Hey,
because you're
yellow
right,
man.
but like also.
So fire. I'm gonna say 1 for fire with fighting because there's so many firefighting types. It just would make sense that they're pretty neutral against each other.
I believe fire is pretty good against flyers. I seem to recall that much.
That makes sense.
But I'm not sure.
I think it's not good against ground or rock. It's half against rock actually. I think.
Yeah, which is funny because it's 2x against steel. So like I guess the image is that like what the fuck is going on there, guys?
I think it's just neutral against ghosts. That makes sense. Like you can't burn a ghost, but also like I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't know either.
I think it's fine. I think it's half. We'll say it's half against itself, because that makes sense.
Yeah, I would think that they would be resistant, but you know, who knows? I feel that way about all the elemental types. Like it feels like if you're an elemental type and you get hit with the same thing in your element, you should be, you know, resistant in some way. But that's not. Again, this is Pokemon. This isn't. Ren makes an RPG, so I'm sure that's not true.
Well, I mean,
Um,
yes, it's true for most of the types. Yes.
Is
For the
dragon
vast
resistant
majority
to
of the
fire?
types, if you attack it with itself, it's either neutral or not very effective.
Let's try it. Let's do half for dragon.
I think it's half for dragon. That would make the
That would
most
make
sense to me.
sense. Because
Yeah.
if they're thinking like dragon as in what is like the penultimate dragon type in the original series, Dragonite,
Yeah, I guess so. I
which is
mean,
not really a dragon, but it's kind of like a standard European-esque dragon. So that's what
that's
my
the thing
brain
about
goes
dragon
to.
type though. Is like the early dragon types were super like they were not really coming out of like visually they seem to have more akin with in their final evolutions, you know, Western conceptions of what a dragon looks like.
Like Salamence. Well, that Salamence is
Charizard, which isn't a dragon type but looks like a fucking dragon.
he's
Yeah,
not actually a
again,
dragon type, though.
I
No.
know he's not, but he like what the hell? Like again, the Pokemon people, why? Why
Well,
do we
think about
do?
it. Like the first few generations didn't have multi-type starters until you got to like Blaziken, which was fire attacking.
Oh, yeah,
Fire
and, like-
fighting. Fire fighting. My brain just went fire attacking. Yes.
I mean, like, I get, like, I think my brain would now catch on. Okay, dragons are dragons, and Charizard is not a dragon. Thank you. Very sweet. Amberly brought me something. But, you know, Charizard's not a dragon because dragon doesn't mean dragon. It means, you know, something more nebulous, ergo Monster Hunter. But, like, that's not really what it happens in the first few games. Like it really is just dragons are what a American expects a dragon to be.
Yeah,
So
well,
I
it's
got
interesting too
Splatoon.
because fire is there are salamanders that are fire that are like mythical in Western myth systems, but they're not always dragons. So that's where
Right.
it gets all funny. But sometimes salamanders are literally little dragons in some systems. So
I'm working on
Weird.
water, Ren.
okay,
So
so
far I
this
got
is
neutral.
this is fire. Let me review fire. So
Okay. Well,
these two are right. So fire is neutral against flying. Oops,
Oh, really?
neutral.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, neutral. Yep, it's bad against rock. It's super effective against bug. That is correct. It's super effective against grass, electric, psychic, ice, dragon. Yep. Dark, it is neutral against. And fairy, it's actually bad again. Wait, no. Let me double check. Nope, it's neutral. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that would have been a weird one.
I feel like
But,
those it's a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
Right, like with
okay.
the because it's your standard elemental that you've seen in other games before, right? It's like
Yeah.
in other JRPGs, like fire is usually good against ice, you know.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
the thing that complicates it isn't that the elemental types. It's that the elemental types have to then interact with types that aren't an elemental, and then it becomes just batshit. Like at that point, all bets are off.
How do you
Yeah,
fight
and in
water?
most JRPGs with with elemental types, there is no such thing as like a normal, unless it's like
Yeah.
usually it's like you have a normal attack. I'm thinking like Persona, right? But also in things like
Sure. You have
also in things
your
like Fire
SP-driven
Emblem, right?
Physical attacks.
Or whatever, right? You have the physical attack, which is all one thing, and then you have
Usually-
the elemental.
Usually, the standard RPG set is physical attacks, fire, water, air, earth, light, dark. That is usually the set, and then everything else outside of that is unique in some way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll have a psychic, sometimes you'll have like a chaos thing or something, but usually that folds into the evil, whatever the Koken evil ability is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the point where you have like these weird types, and also Pokemon's weird because like there aren't really like in Persona, for instance, if I hit a character with a light attack or whatever the I can't remember what the attacks are called at the moment. If I hit them with that,
The holy
individual character is resistant to the attack. The type is not. Whereas Pokemon has this classification system that means that, well, now, you know, types are resistant to each other as opposed to bosses being resistant to certain attacks.
Correct. Yeah.
So Ren, you can look at water and see if you agree or disagree.
I'll be back in a second.
And I don't see why this shouldn't be 1x for that. Yeah, I mean, this seems like it makes sense to me.
Ice beats grass.
Does ice beat? I believe ice
that
beats
makes sense.
grass, doesn't it?
That makes
Doesn't
sense.
ice beat grass?
I mean,
It's because it's like a flash freeze.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
just freeze.
Frost in general. I imagine
grass-
there's.
I can't imagine grass is good against anything because I'm just thinking of like Oddishes and like little grass blades attempting to cut things. But then Scyther's like a grass bug type, so.
For some reason, I remember grass being effective against flying. I'm probably wrong. I probably just fought too many Pidgeys and I can't fucking remember.
Okay. So
Poison is really good against grass. Poison is really good against grass.
Poison's really good against grass?
I think so. I think poison is really good against grass.
I can't remember which way it is around, but I know it's not normal.
Well, no.
Boulder Dash has given you some hints. I don't know if you saw that.
Ooh, okay. Grass is strong against
Boulder
the
Dash
rocky and
is
ground
the
guys.
MVP of today's.
Oh my god. You
But
keep
why?
flipping them. I bet poison is not, or grass is not very effective against poison, and then grass is very strong against these two.
Okay.
And yeah, because that makes some sense. And then I don't remember how grass interacts with ghost. I don't think it does. And then grass versus grass. Well, the other two elemental types have been resistant to themselves, so it makes sense that that would be resistant.
And then just
Yeah, I don't remember electric. I don't remember if electric interacts with grass at all.
I don't remember anything about electric because I didn't actually use a lot of electric Pokemon.
I love electric Pokemon. They're really nice.
Okay,
fall for
so
the mascot?
let's
do. You
do-
fall for the mascot?
No, I don't like Pikachu. Is not my favorite electric Pokemon.
What is I love Raichu, just because of the anime Raichu, who is really chubby and adorable from the first season.
So, all right, let's do some reviewing. So, water. is
Yeah, water.
neutral against fighting.
Oh,
It's also
okay.
neutral against flying.
You can't get the feathers wet and kill the bird.
Apparently not.
Where?
Because there's like ducks.
This is true. There are
This is true.
It is super effective against ground and rock. So you had the rock,
Right,
but the ground
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And it
Okay.
is neutral against bug.
Why did I
Neutral
think
against
of
those two. Super effective against fire. That's right. Neutral against electric poison. And psychic. It is also neutral against ice,
Oh.
which is
That makes
interesting.
sense.
Neutral against dark and fairy, but it is not very effective against dragon.
So, are all of the? I'll just ask. Are all the basic elements not super effective against dragon?
That would make sense because like Lance is supposed to be like the strongest gym leader or whatever in the first game, and so him having like really having it being hard to kill dragons would make sense. We're getting into meta
Yeah.
narrative now.
Well, but that's relevant too, because like you're not just making these decisions based on the cultural assumptions. You're also thinking, how do I fucking balance this damn game?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I imagine some of the first Pokemon's like pacing was derived some of these kind of connections.
And
Yeah.
and blue and yellow and red's pacing was a little rough.
All right, here's grass.
All right, so
You did
grass.
grass.
Yep, those first two are right. It is actually not very effective against flying.
All right,
Ah,
'cause
I
it is
couldn't
kind of a physical thing. I told Ren this, but every time I think of grass, I just think of people throwing blades of grass at people, and so I think it's weak against everything because you're just throwing blades of grass at people.
No, it's like Vine Whip and shit, man.
It is good against ground and rock, which you got. It is bad against bug, actually.
Is it really?
That would kind of make
Makes-
sense, I guess.
Oh,
Neutral
I think
against
it's supposed to
ghost.
make Viridian Forest hard, honestly. Like a lot of those I just imagine were decisions that they made because they didn't want people just kicking their way both through the gym fights and that first dungeon.
Yeah.
Yep. Also bad against steel and fire. Good against water. Bad against grass. Neutral. Neutral. It is neutral against ice.
That is weird.
And the other 3 are right.
Only 3 types are strong against dragon. I know that. I know it's ice and fairy, but I don't know the other one.
Isn't it also dark? Or is dragon? Or is it the dragon is also?
Dragon is effective against dragon.
It's either, I think it's either dark or dragon.
Are we doing the dragon now?
I
guess we are, yeah.
I guess we're just doing the super effective. We're doing defending dragon.
We're doing defending dragon. Which is also my new Bruce Lee movie.
Defending dragon.
Defending dragon.
Defending dragon.
Crouching fairy, defending dragon.
Oh my god, that movie. Although the actual movie is fantastic.
I was gonna say, although like culturally, it would be crouching dark type, because that would be the dark type would be the sneaky one.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't a dark tiger.
Yeah,
a dark tiger.
Well,
or cat. Oh wait,
no,
there's
I guess
a dark
there
cat.
isn't.
Never mind. There's a dark cat. In Gen 5, there's a dark cat, which makes sense. Okay, defending
this is probably
dragon.
all 1x.
Depending, a lot of 1x. There's probably halves. Let's do some halves.
I imagine it is.
Poison?
I want to say dragon will be resistant to ghost.
Yeah.
That makes sense in my head.
Because they just have like such moral fortitude.
Grim snarl.
Yeah.
No, we didn't say dark fairy. We said dark tiger. What are we talking about?
Oh, the dark cat. Leopard.
I also imagine that they would be resistant against psychic, for similar reasons, but maybe that's wrong. Maybe for like balancing reasons, they would have psychic just be a 1x. I really don't know about electric, because like obviously the 3 main elements are not there, but you kind of pointed out earlier, Morgan, that like electric is in a weird position. I wonder if earlier in like they moved it to 1x and it used to be half or something, because that would make sense from like a balancing standpoint for yellow.
And we're going with dragon against dragon is effective.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that, and I think that makes some sense. Of course, I also want to give half to dark as well, but I don't. That seems like too much resistance for 1.
Yeah, that's why I'm just putting a 1 there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, David.
Okay, just a second. I'm sharing a meme in the chat to see if Boldash knows.
Oh my god.
Sharing some memes. All right. So defending dragon. It is poison is neutral against dragon. And all of the other, actually every single physical, traditionally physical move is neutral against dragon. I think maybe because they are such a part of the spiritual, part of Japanese mythology, it might be like originally they thought it only interacted with those kind of not the metaphysical, the special elements, right?
That's interesting. So then that presents a tension in the design of the type between its depiction being relevant to an American audience and its typing being in some ways connected to Japanese, something that really is only going to resonate for Japanese audiences.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just.
I guess Chinese audiences.
Fire, water, and grass are all halves.
Those are all halves. Yep. Electric is also half.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yep. Psychic is just neutral. And then ice, dragon, and fairy are all super effective.
Wow.
Nice.
So honestly, you got most of that right.
Garchomp with another Garchomp and just being upset.
Yeah, Garchomp. Like I think that dragons. Like I feel like dragons gets a interesting rap because before fairy, there was only 2 things that were effective against them, and all of the starter Pokemon were half effective. So I feel like that's why dragons get a bad rap, being OP.
Yeah.
Didn't Garchomp actually get banned from competition in like?
It might have been in Ubers once. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it got.
If we want to talk about tiers, that's its own thing. And how the tiers got their names.
Let's have some weird interactions. Let's go dark. Let's do
Oh,
dark.
I'm filling out electric.
Are you filling out electric? Okay, well.
Yeah, I've been
we'll
filling
do
out
it.
electric.
For one,
Oop.
it doesn't infect ground. I know that for sure.
Yeah, just
Electric,
change
yeah.
whatever you want. I don't remember
Electric
exactly what works and what doesn't.
is an interesting type in terms of
It's
it has
really good.
it generally has fewer resistances and super effective than most other types.
It's really good against flying, I think.
I can't imagine it affects ice or dark that much, but I want to say it's probably effective against psychic. That would make sense to me.
Why?
Why do you say that?
I say that because I'm thinking like if you shock somebody while they're trying to concentrate on something, they can't concentrate anymore.
Fair? Okay. Water. Okay.
But I mean, I might be wrong.
I agree with this. I changed your flying to 2 times 2 because I'm pretty sure I know that.
Okay. It might be effective against dark as well, but if David's right, well, of course David's right, but if David like is being honest with us and it just has less shit than other types have going on with it, then like this feels good to me, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like its immunity or Rock's immunity to electric is something of a big deal in the first game.
Yeah.
First couple games.
So most of these you guys got right, which is awesome. Rock is neutral.
Rock is neutral.
Okay.
I'm not really sure how they like figured out the difference between ground and rock, to be honest.
I have no idea. For me, it's also the poison and bug. Like, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference between them?
I can see
Well, that
that a
makes
little
some
more
sense.
because like some animals are venomous, like snakes, and not all bugs are venomous or poisonous.
Like frogs can be poisonous, you know?
Yeah.
Toxic.
Yeah.
And then it is
Yeah,
actually half against grass.
You see, I had a gut feeling towards that, and I was like, no, it can't be, because then they'd have a lot of resistances. But I guess that's
And then it's neutral against psychic. The others were all
Okay.
right though.
Yeah, that is weird.
You're getting there.
It has less times than other things.
Which I guess because, well, okay, I don't want to say because, but the thing we're not paying attention to here and we can't is like status effects. And I wonder if it like the reason they had for making this more having less like 2x's and 1x's was well you can paralyze
Yeah.
with electric more easily. But I mean that doesn't really seem to track. I mean I guess I should say I wonder if that tracks for poison and psychic, which also have a lot of easy access to status effects.
I guess we'll see. Let's do dark.
Yeah.
Let's do dark next. Because I'm gonna
Okay, we can do dark.
I'm gonna get so many wrong with dark.
I have
gonna
no
be
fucking clue, man.
This is gonna be fun.
All right, dark against normal. I think it's a super effective, or ghost is effective against normal. It's either ghost or dark that's super effective against normal.
You already got that dark is super effective against ghost. I remember that much. I'm pretty sure the triad is basically the same for ghost, dark, and psychic that it was for fire, water, and grass. So I think it's half effective against psychic, if I remember correctly.
Okay, and then half effective against normal.
I don't know about normal. I'm gonna guess. Like, do we have enough now that we can kind of start like using its resistances to figure out what's 1x, which is nice. So like, because that's really the hardest part, right? Is just trying to figure out what's normal.
I think dark is super.
So all these are
effective
probably
against
1x.
That makes sense to me. I think.
Oh, against normal, it's probably 1x because it's 1x up here. So, like, I imagine as far as like the question is what changes. Yeah, I'm guessing that what changes is like the balancing between the halves and the 2x for the most part, and not the balancing between the 1x. So, but I could be wrong. Again, like it's fucking Pokemon, and like on some level, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
It's probably half effective. Yeah.
It's like
on some
I
level,
just keep
like
expecting this to fuck.
there's like 30. It's like in Minecraft. Like the physical properties of things make no sense in Minecraft except when they do. Like gold is terrible. But like there's diamond armor, which makes no sense. So it's
Well, gold is like really malleable.
Yeah, that's why gold sucks is because like gold's good, but it like breaks super easy. It's the only thing in Minecraft like physical traits that actually correlates with its actual thing that's made out of.
Yeah. I'm just gonna assume that it's 2x against bug because that sounds stupid, and I want to guess that.
I actually think that might be true. I think it might be effective against, or half effective. It does something with ice. I feel like
It does something with ice. That's weird. Like what?
I feel like ice does something with dark.
Well, okay. So also, like, dark is what you said, David. That it's like culturally like the backhanded technique. So
Yeah.
wouldn't it make sense for it to be 2x against fighting?
Sure.
I would think that like in like a fighting dirty kind of way.
Bug strong.
But I don't know. Bug strong. I know bug is like criminally undervalued as a type.
Yeah, because they're bugs. Gross. Oh.
No, also like I'm sorry, Metapod sucks, and like Metapod is one of the first bug types you run into, and so
Well,
people are like, oh no.
Well, bugs and normal types get really bad raps because they're the trash Pokemon. Like normal.
And they're the
plant
easiest
types.
to get.
They're the easiest to get. Like you get Wurmples all the time, and you get like I hate Zigzagoons. Not because Zigzagoons are bad, it's because they're the trash Pokemon. They're the one that you always run into, and you're like, I don't want you. Go away. I'm gonna say it's half effective against dark.
I really could not have.
Okay.
All right. There's your dark team.
Okay, so
I
this
bet
one's
it's got an immunity we don't know about or some shit.
this one is a little more interesting. So it's actually
cool.
half effective against fighting.
Okay. I can see that's the thing though, is like anytime I come up with a line of logic as to why something could be like twice as effective or half effective, it could easily just be turned on its head for the most part.
I think a big thing from what I remember hearing about it is like fighting type is more like associated with like the noble kind of fighting. Right, like
that's why you
martial
have, like,
arts and that kind of thing.
Machop, and you can definitely tell that with what they make fighting.
Yeah, so I think like
sumo wrestlers and stuff.
Yeah, I think the logic is like because fighting type is like the virtuous training type, that it would be super effective against dark. I think.
Right.
But then you get Pokemon that like Scraggy in Gen 5 is fighting / dark, so that's cute. Let's see. It's normal against poison, neutral against poison, so no matchup there. Okay. It's also neutral against bug, so nothing there.
I just did that for fun, so.
Yeah. It is super effective against ghost. All of these are correct. It's actually super effective against psychic.
Okay.
And it is neutral against ice. And it is bad against itself, and it's also bad against fairy.
Yeah, so I guess like
very good against dark.
Huh.
I feel like that's
dark is also one of those types that doesn't have a lot of resistances or any of that stuff.
That's why like dark.
Yeah.
Well, because like if you're thinking about how things are paired with each other, dark type is not like quote unquote a main type. Like when something is a fire type, it is mostly fire plus something else. And dark is usually the plus something else. So I feel like that's why it's not really like have a lot going on for it, because it gets added to things. Like, oh, this is a bug type. It's also dark because it's scary, sort of thing. Like that's kind of my perception of it. Where dark's not really like the main type. It's like an added bonus. It's kind of fighting can be like that, but fighting is also not. Fighting's not.
I feel like fighting is often the main type, but I also haven't played enough Pokemon. See, the thing also is that like my background is in so much in like a Gen 1 Pokemon that I don't know what shit they've done. I know there's a pair of Pokemon that's just a fucking pair of car keys, and like, what am I supposed to do with that?
It's so cute though. What type do you think that is? What type do you think it is?
The car keys?
Yes.
It's gotta be
the car
steel.
keys. Yeah, it's well, I would think it would be steel, yeah.
It also has another type in it.
Oh, is it Steel Fairy?
Yes, because it's mischievous.
Of course it fucking is.
Well, it's like after it takes after the the myths and legends that like fairies would, like in I mean you see it in Studio Ghibli movies, right? But like little fairies would live in the drawers in your home and that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I mean I get like the household spirit thing, like. Fine. But like still, and there's nuance in all of this stuff, but come on, I should at least be able to make fun of the car keys. That being said, I
See,
do
make fun
really
of-
like,
make
is
up
it
the ice-
Rodham? I think it's called the little Pokemon,
Rotom.
little bolt of lightning that
Rotom.
like attaches itself to other things and becomes their shape. I think that's a really nifty idea, and
See,
that's not really different than having a set of fairy card keys. So what am I complaining about?
See, for me, like Black and White was painful because they were just like an inanimate object that they made into Pokemon. Everyone got mad at like Diamond and Pearl because they all kind of look like Digimon, because it was the evolution generation. Like it was the generation that they just added like pre-evolutions and post-evolutions, and that's where Licky Licky comes from. So if you don't like that generation because of Licky Licky, I understand. Nobody likes Licky Licky. Nobody likes Licky Licky. But I also think Steel is another one that's like an added thing, but it's also a really good added thing, like a steel bug or a bug steel type. I don't know. I'm going with this idea that things are secondary, like dark is a secondary type. But anyway, let's do Ghost.
I'm gonna make you guys do this with JoJo stands at some point.
Oh, perfect. I would love to.
I'll make it a serious play after dark. I'll just pull up. I'll give you pictures of JoJo stands. I'll be like, all right, tell me what this JoJo stand does and what its name is. And we'll just go back and forth on this shit.
Now I have to do something like that. What would I do? I'll do just like glam contests in Final Fantasy. What do you think this job gear is? Do you think it's a paladin?
Which Final Fantasy do you think this chocobo's from?
How many belts does this character have on their design?
Yeah, I'll give you a $25 Visa gift card if you can guess the number of belts on this character.
No, I'll do like Gundam pilots. How old do you think this Gundam pilot is?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
12? Because you are correct. What do you think about this one? Also 12. All right. Gundam loves its child pilots. Loves its child soldiers. Oh, so good. Okay. Anyway, Ghost type. I think it's half effective against normal type.
Let's do this shit. Ghost. Well, I believe it is. What are we doing? We're doing Ghost.
I think it's half for psychic, maybe, or no, half for dark, definitely.
I'm pretty sure ghosts are normal against ghosts. They're either normal or reduced against ghosts. I just can't remember. So David will tell me I'm wrong when I'm wrong.
Is ghost? Oh wait, am I in the wrong column? No,
I think you are in the wrong column. I'm in the wrong column.
You're in the wrong row.
Whatever.
Not even
you're
column,
in the wrong
just
row.
Okay. So I feel like Ghost is another one of those things that has a lot of halves. Is it like Steel where it has a lot of halves? I don't know.
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Sag.
I know it's got resistance against. I don't remember it having a lot of like super effectives though, to be honest. Like
That's true.
I remember just playing Ghost because it was I liked the designs, not because it was super effective at all.
I loved Gengar, and my Gengar in X and Y. I was telling this to Ren, but David, I got Gengar really early on with Wonder Trade. Or I got Ghastly in Wonder Trade in X and Y. Like the first route, I got Ghastly. And so I had this really ridiculously overleveled Gengar for all of X and Y because I love Gengar. Like I got to the third gym and when someone trade with me so I can get Gengar. I love Gengar.
Sorry, I was responding to Bolded Ash, who's gonna go do some Dynamax adventures.
Like, I mean, change them if you will, but I really don't know what to say because that seems kind of sparse. But I have a very, like, I just maybe it's too. We know the Steel one's set up correctly, so like I don't know. I really don't know what else it could be. You know.
There's a timer going off.
That would be Amberly. Unfortunately today it seems like my soundproofing is but for naught.
Thanks for coming, Bold Dash. It was awesome to have you. Thank you. It was awesome.
Catch the VOD on our Twitch afterwards, or catch the VOD on the YouTube.
Or come every Tuesday to Fan Game Follies, where we'll just probably play more Pokemon because I'm lazy. So Ghost type.
Also, speaking of Streamlabs, we're gonna have to make sure that that's not broken because the archiving message has not come up yet.
Well, that's because I did unban Streamlabs, but I may have to go fix that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying.
Because I definitely didn't think about it.
All right, anyway, All right, we're just going with it. We're just
Okay, so it
Great.
is.
Oh, actually, the reason is
following
because
across.
Streamlabs is not in our current user chat. I think we would just have to I think the next time we start a stream, it'll re-add itself to our chat.
All right, sweet. We figured that out. Bye, Boulder Dash. All right, ghosts.
So not effective against normal.
So it's just like 0.
So it's 0
okay,
against
that makes
normal.
sense.
Yep. It is super effective against itself. So dragon
okay.
and ghost are the only 2 types that are super effective against themselves. They're also
Alright.
actually super effective against psychic. It used to be that psychic and ghost were both super effective against each other, and that was in the first gen. But in the first gen, the only 2 ghost type moves were lick, which has like basically the lowest amount of hit of like power of any move, and nightshade, which only does damage based on like the level of the Pokemon. So basically, there was no way to know that Ghost was super effective against Psychic. But now it is. Let's see. It is bad against Dark, and it is actually neutral against Fairy.
Huh.
I'm trying to find things against that are good against Fairy. What are things that are good?
So
against
if we take
Fairy?
that, and I'm just gonna do Ghost Vertical now for a second. I'm just gonna assume that as a defending type, all of these are 1x. Steel is 1x, and then that these 2 are, in all likelihood, also all 1x.
Let me just double check.
Dragon would be the only thing I would think like, oh yeah, that probably damages Ghost hard,
Or Fairy might damage Ghost hard.
Or Fairy might damage Ghost hard, yeah, one of the 2. Well, do you want to make any changes?
I'll say Fairy damages Ghost.
It makes
Okay.
sense that it would have more 2x's since it's got all those immunities.
Okay, so a couple of things. Fairy, it's normal against Fairy, so just neutral against Fairy.
Fairy's neutral
and
against Ghost.
Oh, sorry. Fairy is neutral against Ghost. Yep, Dark is 2 times against Ghost. Dragon is normal. Psychic is now no longer 2 times. It's only 1 time. Only neutral against Ghost.
Right, you mentioned that before, right?
Yep. Bug is actually half against Ghost.
Okay, that's a bizarre one.
Yep. And
That's truly weird.
and if you want another bizarre one, poison is also half against Ghost.
Well, that one I can wrap my head around it at least, but like, what is going on with Bug?
I feel like Bug is kind of the end-all be-all of balancing. Like, they're just like, it's a bug. We can do whatever we want with these bugs. And just fill in all the balancing gaps. Like, kind of like what they do with Fairy, where they filled in all the balancing gaps for, like, Dragon and stuff.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Kimmy, come here.
And then
So for-
flying is also neutral against Ghost.
Okay.
Hello,
Cool.
come here.
Yeah.
So for
Oh, I thought
let's-
flying couldn't... Oh, okay, but normal and fighting can't punch ghosts. I was correct about that?
Correct.
Okay, sweet. Come here. Okay.
We're almost there. We're almost to the end.
yeah,
to the end.
we're getting there.
But I will
So-
say we might want to just do 1 or 2 more, and then we can talk about how they've changed in Newborn or Reborn or whatever.
we
'cause
can
tonight
talk
we're-
about that later. Let's just do this today and call it good.
Okay, all right, all right. This is good content.
You're just enjoying yourself.
This is
too
good
much.
content. I am, and I also like once this is done, I'm like, yeah, we can just go to bed and I can talk about Reborn later. I'll just play some Reborn.
I feel like
you know?
we'll do Steel because I feel like Steel, a lot of it's neutral, since they have so many defensing.
Resistances,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, because their resistances are not necessarily like
like
I
defect-
can't imagine it's super effective against normal.
Defensing.
I know what you meant.
It's probably half against fighting. That would make sense to me.
Yeah, maybe.
1 against flying, I would guess.
I feel like it actually might be double, but just because.
Double on fighting?
Oh no, fighting is double against Steel. Never mind.
Yeah, that's why that's where I'm getting that. It could be double against Steel. Could be double against flying. I could see that.
Double against.
but-
Well, I'm thinking like.
Mm.
I'm trying to think. I don't think a lot of things are double typed that are effective against each other. And my
Mhm.
brain immediately went to Skarmory, which I believe is a flying steel type.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't think they would make a Pokemon that would be effective against like itself. Like if it was confused and it did a steel type, and it bonked itself with steel, does that mean it's just gonna die? Like,
Well, it's multiple types. I don't know how how they set that up. You know.
Yeah, and confusion isn't affected by type at all. If it's
told my cat.
if a dragon type hits itself, doesn't matter.
I think steel's really good against ground. I just have this
I don't
feeling.
remember.
I just have this feeling that it's effective against ground. It might be effective against rock, but
Maybe it's really effective against psychic.
I think it actually is. That would make sense.
That would be something.
Maybe steel bends the psychic spoons.
But God knows about fairy.
You know what? I'm gonna do double. I'm gonna say it's double effective against fairy.
Of course you fucking are. Of course you fucking are.
Something is going to be effective against fairy.
God damn.
And I will figure it out. I think steel is good against bug. My brain says
that would make sense. I just don't know. You know.
And then like one against rock. Let's do that. That's the steel. That's our steel.
That's the steel. That's the steel.
Did we get the right alloy?
We'll see.
Did you get my?
Yeah, I got your joke.
I got you.
I got your fucking joke.
So it's neutral against fighting, actually.
Okay.
So nothing there. It is also neutral against ground, but it is super effective against rock.
Okay, so I didn't get those two mixed up. I didn't get those two mixed up. Well, think about it. Wrecking ball, like mining, that'd be ground. I don't know.
I guess you're right, but like then like the distinction between ground
and
rock, it's oh my god.
Well, like the ground types make sandstorm, and the rock types are rock, and that's the only difference I can think of.
Yeah, now is Dwayne the Rock Johnson a fighting type, a rock type, or a ground type? That's the real question.
He's a fighting rock type.
He's a fighting rock.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
He's quite literally a fighting rock.
But I lost my cursor again. Shoot.
So we were on ×2 bug. Is that correct?
Just a second. I lost my cursor again, so I might need to mess.
Cursor, come back.
You can blame it all on me.
What'd you end up doing for your PC, by the way?
It actually works now. But I still
it looks
need
like
to
your
get
internet connection's better too.
Yeah, it's weird because my internet connection is really bad when it comes to phones. Like the phone gets kicked off all the time, but the laptop does really well. Okay, so I'm not sure.
Okay, anyway, continue onwards.
No, it's okay. I'm just not sure where my cursor is. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Hi, Kimmy. My cat was very upset with us that we had left, and he showed that by snuggling us a lot because he was like, "Why did you leave me?"
Very sweet boy.
He's a sweet boy.
Let's see. I might just have to look at them. Okay,
We can change it
so
for you,
yeah, I
man.
was gonna say you just need to change it for me. So it's neutral against bug.
Dang it.
I'll do that. Oh, you got
All
it.
the others are so this is where it gets interesting. It's bad against fire and water.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Neutral against grass though, but bad against electric. So you're right there.
Yeah,
Neutral
that makes
against psychic,
Okay.
and it actually is super effective against fairy type.
Oh my god.
Is it super effective against ice too? Like I was
Yes.
thinking?
Yep. All the others are correct as well.
Oh
I
my
found the super
god.
effective against fairies.
And it's a bar of fucking steel. Incredible.
I mean, well,
this
no, that
game
makes sense.
is
No, that makes sense. Well, because they kind of go. Since the first generation, they've reached into different cultural understandings, and Fae folk in a lot of European myths hate iron, like nails.
that
are
okay,
Or like
very-
that makes
That was a
industrialization.
that's a very
Yeah.
common. Oh, spread nails around, and the Fae folk won't get you. Like
right.
goblins and hobgoblins hate iron, so it's like that makes sense. That's the one. So my brain went, yeah, okay, I understand. Not really, but I kind of get there. What are we doing? We're doing flying.
Yeah, I'm just doing flying because I
Doing
figured we
flying,
almost
okay.
got it filled out anyway. It's got to be half against. Like, there's no way that bug is effective against flying
We're
at
gonna
all.
we're gonna do
No
bug
fucking
this
way.
way, and we're gonna see that bug's like super OP, and we're like, oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
I
Okay.
wish.
Oh,
This
hi,
is-
pal. Sorry.
Like, I don't know how dragon and fairy interact with
Oops.
flying. Like I do
think-
not claim to understand.
I think dragons are normal. Oh, sweet. Now I can just like have you in grid view. Okay,
Sorry,
ready?
I have to do this again. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. I think it's just normal against fairy. I think a lot of things are just gonna be normal against fairy. Oh no, I wasn't watching your stream, but. If you
Oh,
want to
okay.
put- Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
that was good.
We're probably wrong, but whatever.
Okay, so when it
It's
comes
flying
to flying defensively, ground is 0 against it, but rock is actually super effective against it. So I guess you can like throw a rock at something,
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
but you can't really like
Well,
shake the ground at it.
Guys, we're killing birds with stones. We are
Yeah,
quite
literally.
killing birds with stones.
Oh god.
So if somebody could change that, that would be great. Because my
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
mouse
all
still
right,
isn't
all right,
working.
all right.
A bug is a half. Ghost, steel, fire, water. Yep. Grass is also a half. Electric is 2 times. Ice is 2 times. Yep. And all the rest are good.
See,
Cool.
the flying is the one that kind of makes the most sense with it, like being hit really hard with electric and being hit really hard with ice.
Yeah.
Because if you're flying and you get zapped with lightning, you're dead.
Yeah, you're poof.
Yeah, you're fucked.
And so with ice storms too. Rock, I don't quite understand, but ground, I always will remember because earthquake doesn't
Does
hit
not
flying.
hit it. Yep.
Yep.
Does not hit flying. Okay.
Which makes perfect sense. I mean,
It makes perfect sense. Let's do bug and then poison, and we're gonna be sad about
Okay.
both of these types.
yep. So this is probably 1 and 1. I imagine it is resistant to poison.
Or
That would be my
poison
guess.
is resistant to it because we're attacking.
Poison's
we're
resistant.
attacking.
Right. So it
We're
would
throwing
be
bugs at things.
right. Yes, poison would be resistant to it. Maybe
it's half.
ground would be. Nah. How does bug affect bug? That's the question.
I would say it's half, right?
Do you think so? I imagine there's no difference whatsoever.
I feel like there's gonna be a lot of halves for poor bug here.
Poor bug has got to be like
There is some halves,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
demolished by fire.
Poor guy.
I
Let's
imagine.
say-
I love my bug types. I feel bad
I'm
for
gonna
them.
say that it's good against dark.
You think so?
Yeah, I say it's good against dark.
Cool.
And then I think it's probably neutral to everything else.
I also actually, I'm gonna throw in an extra half. I'm gonna think it's half against water.
Bugs don't like water. That's true.
Just for
Bugs-
fun.
Well, some bugs like water, but some bugs do not like water.
Yeah. Well,
It would make more sense if it was always half against ice, but maybe we've got those flipped or something.
So, I'm just gonna double check to make sure. Yes. Okay. So, it is actually neutral against itself, kind of like Ren was
Okay.
thinking.
Okay.
All the ones before it were right. Half against ghost, half against steel, half against fire, but neutral against water.
Okay.
It is super effective against grass, and it is
Ooh.
also super effective against psychic.
Duh. I guess if you're scared of bugs, but
I guess
like
if
still.
you're scared of, I don't know. I feel like that one's just another thrown in one. I feel like that's another balance.
Yeah. And then all the rest are correct, but actually it is half against fairy.
Oh, I was
Okay.
thinking, I was like, oh, maybe it's half against fairy, but we had so many halves already that I was like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
deal with it.
So I feel
Okay,
kind of
but
bad for bug. I love
Yeah, bug really
types.
is getting shafted real
Yeah.
hard.
Or what you can say is that bug is the most balanced, but everything else is kind of less balanced, so it kind of looks bad. don't know, What, like six halves, 3 doubles, and like everything else is ones? Like that kind of makes sense. Like, yeah. But
Oh, Cricket is in chat.
What do you want to do next?
Cricket is.
Oh, hey, Cricket! Cricket!
Hello.
I'm
A
I'm
bug
challenging
type has appeared.
I'm challenging Ren and Morgan to see if they can complete correctly all of the Pokemon matchups.
We've done better than guessing.
Honestly,
That is it.
you've gotten more than half correct by this
So
point.
what do you have left?
What do you want to do? I mean, at this point.
But
give me
yes,
whatever.
Cricket bug
Let's-
type is my favorite type.
let's do fairy defending.
So that makes sense.
Let's do fairy defending, because why not? Why not? Why not?
All right.
I'm gonna say it's neutral.
I have no clue for any of these.
We're
I'm
on
lost.
I
this
love
one.
it. I love the no
We're on
clue.
T. Because we're defending.
Oh, okay, we're defending. Right.
I think it's neutral against flying. I feel like it might actually be half against poison, or poison might be effective against fairy.
This is 1x. I just imagine this thing either is like absolutely normal and there's not a lot to say for it, or it's just chock full of resistances and super effective. Like I just imagine it's super unbalanced if it's not, you know.
I feel like it's kind of both. Like in some cases it can be really OP, and in some cases it can be really bad because they added fairy on. They added the fairy type to other Pokemon. So older Pokemon got retyped as fairy, and I think that made it broken. They didn't quite think about it before they did it. They were just like, yeah, this Pokemon is also a fairy now. And then it just kind of made some really badly OP thing.
Yeah, I imagine like it's resistant to dragon. That would be probably my guess.
That makes sense. Well, it's super effective against dragon.
Yeah, it's super effective against dragon. So I would think it'd be
sense.
resistant against dragon.
I think it's like neutral for ground and rock.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it has some interaction with psychic, but I just don't know.
I think psychic does have to it. I think it's resistant to psychic, or it's gonna be resistant to ice. I think. I don't know. Ice, dragon, and fairy kind of do like the interactions. Oh, Tambalaya is here. Hello.
Oh, hey. Nice. You
Hello.
get to watch us. Everybody's watching us struggle. All the usual suspects.
The usual suspects are watching us struggle bus. Okay, we have just finished the fairy defending type and the matchups.
Okay.
Yes, please kill me now.
So this one's a little rough, but it's okay. So poison is actually double. Oops, wrong one. Double. So poison is super effective against fairy, which does make sense. I think where the steel and the poison comes from is like pollution and industrialization, and that kind of stuff is always seen as like kind of like, you know, the enemy.
Well, so
I think that's the problem with when they say fairy, because fairy in like what you're talking about before, when you're talking about like how Japanese understand the Japanese translation of fairy versus the American translations of fairy. When I think of fairy, I think of like Tinkerbell. And so, like, why would Tinkerbell care about poison and stuff, you know? But, like, for them, they think about more, like, spirit and fate.
Yeah.
And if they just had called spirit or fate, well, spirit, like, they would sound like ghosts then. But, like, if they said, like, fae, my brain would make it sense a lot more. Yeah, fae folk don't like poison because they are the environment.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the Japanese term for fairy, like how it relates to other Japanese words. I only know the dark one, so I'm not exactly sure.
And I only I go right to Germanic stuff.
Yeah,
but like
of course that's
that
where we're
doesn't
from.
track either because like, oh my god, so inconsistent. You know,
well, like
trying
German...
to make some sense is hard of everything that is vaguely referred to as a fairy.
Yeah, and also like the German nomenclature for fairy tales is poor because the oral history is written like it was all oral and then it was written down, but because it was the Grimm brothers writing it down, they were biased in how they interpreted the stories.
No, of course.
So like, but they're the only ones that interpreted these oral histories, so we don't know.
Yeah.
But like I'm thinking like English fae folk is kind of my interpretation, which I know mostly from Spiderwick, which is stupid now that I'm thinking about it. But like Spiderwick had a really good interpretations of English folk tales.
Buried that in my psyche. I forgot about Spiderwick Chronicles. My god.
Loved Spiderwick Chronicles. I had all
some
5
good
books.
illustrations.
I love their interpretation of like dwarves, and like it was like traditional English folktale, just there. I loved it. Anyway, continuing on.
Okay. Bug is half. Yep, all of those are correct. Psychic is neutral against it. Ice is
Okay.
also neutral.
Okay.
And dragon, this is kind of the big the big nerf of dragon, is that dragon actually doesn't affect it at all.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Yes. I believe that is
Weird.
the last that is the last wait, no, just kidding. There's one more. There's one more does not affect it all.
I think it's in the dark column. I think it's dark defending. Maybe. Or in the ice. I think it's either in ice.
Morgan,
or
you're always going to the ice.
I don't know. Ice ice is the sleeper.
Ice, baby.
I watched this challenge where he like beat whole gyms with ice Pokemon. And I'm like, I always thought ice was garbage. But ice just does things. I think ice is like the glass cannon type. It does a lot of things, but it also dies very quickly. So if you can do things with it, you can do a lot of things. But I don't know.
I'm doing dark resistances now, just because why the hell not?
We're doing dark. We're doing dark defending. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, why
Yes,
not?
dark defending.
I think psychic is super effective against dark.
Dark does super effective against psychic, so wouldn't it be the other way
Oh,
around?
okay. Yeah, it'd be the other way around.
Mhm. Good try, Morgan, but we already did that one.
I think it's probably
Dark defending.
I just imagine
There's a lot
these
of
are-
good movie names or like book names coming out of this. Dark defending.
Dark. Well, isn't Dark Tower? The Dark Tower is Stephen King's, right?
Yes.
Hi, Kimmy. Come here. Oh, come show the people your cute fluffiness.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
where's
where
the
I
cat?
would live with it. Maybe there is like a resistance or something in there, but I don't know. I mean, all of these I can just put 1x for all of them. I
I
feel.
think ground and rock might be resistant. Dark might be resistant to ground and rock.
Maybe. I
Um,
can't rationalize that, but cool.
can I step in?
The fluffers. Sure.
Yeah,
So
sure.
all of this is right actually, and you're on the right track with the psychic one, but psychic actually does not affect dark.
Oh, so that's the last like immunity.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Now he's going for it.
Oh, kitty.
Tamarline's like, hello. That's Kimmy. He's my fluffy. What is this?
We
fluffy
have
baby
so
resistant?
many cats thanks to Morgan.
It is the only cat that comes because Val doesn't like to come up with me.
All right,
That's
what are we
cute.
doing next?
It's adorable. Let's do
Oh, no,
ice.
I don't
Let's
know.
do ice attacking. Let me live out my dream of ice is really a sleeper and kills everything.
I'm just gonna let you do it. I'm just gonna watch you struggle this time.
It's just gonna be green.
Yeah, just
Okay,
do
I
it.
guess
Fuck.
that. I actually think it might be super effective against normal. It's just.
I mean,
Okay,
that's a guess.
It's a guess.
I mean, I don't see why it would be, but cool.
You know, I'm going for it. My brain says it is. I think it's like one.
All right. Yeah, I'll let you do this one. You can see this one. I'll see myself out.
I'll see yours. Actually, I think it might
Yeah.
be like half against rock and ground because that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. That's just my brain saying.
God.
Oh, I think it's super effective against grass. Because earlier Boulder Dash said grass doesn't like ice, and that's what I'm going with that.
That
And
is
it's
true.
neutral. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so Morgan, I'm not sure why you think ice is good against normal,
I don't
but
know,
it's
my
just
brain said
neutral.
it was.
It is also neutral against fighting.
Okay.
Neutral against rock. Oops.
Why is it gray? Why is it gray?
Neutral against rock, and
If it is it one
there
half
you go.
against ground though?
it is super effective against ground.
Oh.
Oh my God. Morgan. Morgan.
Let's see, all of the rest of these. Let's see. So ice is also a half effective against fire and half against
Well, that
something
makes
against
sense.
water,
That
and
makes
it
sense.
is resistant to itself as well.
Well, it being half
Ah.
effective against water is all right. Sure.
There is a move called freeze dry though that is an ice type move, and its like special ability is that it's super effective against water types.
bizarre, but all right, cool. I
think the
guess.
thing is like it's so cold that it like freezes. It's like it freezes water instantly. I think is what the thing is. So.
Yeah. All right, my ice fan. We could do ice defending now and let Ren do that.
Those like 6 little boxes.
Yeah, you want me to do that? Okay,
yeah,
sure, I'll do it. Thanks. I'm really glad that you're getting something out of this. This will be. You realize this is way easier for me than it was for you, right?
I think you have discounted or overestimated how much thought I put into that. So it was, yeah, this makes sense, and yeah, okay, cool.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I'm losing a little bit of steam, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm hitting my wall here pretty soon too.
Because the type system relies on a lot of strange assumptions stuff into a series of interlocking rock paper scissors games. Yes. Yes. That is correct. I likened it to like Minecraft, where like physical properties don't matter until they do. Like gold. Gold is the only thing that actually like has physical properties in Minecraft that makes sense. And like here, it's like there's certain interactions that you're like makes sense, but then there's a lot that just don't. Yeah.
There you go, David.
All right, so let's see. So flying is actually neutral against ice.
Okay,
and
so it's
ground...
super effective against flying,
yeah.
but not the other
I mean,
way around.
it's a good guess. Ground is also neutral against ice. Steel and fire are super effective. Yep. And oh wait, what am I doing? Rock type is effective as well. Super effective.
Oh, okay, cool.
I will rock beat ice sculptures.
Yep. Dragon
Yeah,
is also neutral. So ice type is the only type to have one resistance, and it's or I shouldn't say the only type because normal only has one resistance as well. But it is the only type where it is resistant against itself, and that's its only resistance. So it's it's the worst defensive type in the game.
And not a very good offensive type either, really.
My brain said it's a glass cannon, man. So
really, it's just glass. There's really not a cannon
There's no cannon. There's some really good ice types out there, especially once you get like the double. Once you get like an ice steel type is really good because you get a lot of the ice resistances covered with the steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we want to do now? Let's do poison attacking.
Sure.
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in the ×1 for all the normal types because I just said that, and
yeah, it's a good idea.
Also, we can just get done by 10, maybe.
Oh, it's 950. Oh no, it's 950.
You can say whether we'll get done by 10 o'clock.
Oof.
I
have a meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Maybe it's fine against ground, but there's no way that fucker is effective against rock. Not a damn way in the world.
I don't think it's effective against bugs.
Yeah, I don't think poison is effective against bugs either. And then fire, I mean, I imagine it's kind of normal for that and normal for water.
And normal for electric.
Well, maybe water would be resistant to it, but I don't fucking know. It's fucking the worst. This is just a thought experiment in futility, I swear.
So
thanks, David. Hit me with it.
Poison. Actually, you did pretty well. Poison is neutral against fighting. It used to be not very effective, I believe, but now it's just neutral. It is also bad against ground. And it's not very effective against poison either. It's not very effective against rock, but it is neutral against bug.
Okay.
So generally, it's one of the worst offensive types in the game, but it is a little better at the defense. So.
But I think that goes with what Ren was saying with that fact that most poison types can poison people. And that's why maybe it's not the best defending.
It's a status effector.
Attacking, but just status affecting.
Yeah.
That's a very like RPG distinction, and that's the other thing that runs through this that we aren't really talking terribly much about is that I mentioned earlier that elements in other RPGs work XYZ way, but like this is still built on older RPGs.
Let's
So
do-
there's
Oh,
still
yeah,
a bunch
totally.
of RPG logic that like, but it doesn't line up because that's not how Pokemon works. Like it's over here, and the other RPGs are over here. It's like entirely different classification
In
systems.
the interest of time, let's do dragon and fairy attacking, and then maybe rock, and then red.
Let's just do only attacking from now on because that's less columns.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
agreed.
It's inherently less columns because we're doing rows and not columns.
No columns.
Yes, you like look. I all right. I
It is
understand
quicker.
that I'm
It's
an
quicker.
I'm
You don't have
sorry.
to, yeah,
I'm
you don't have to
sorry,
scream it.
I just had to say it. I was like, well, yeah, because we're doing rows, not columns.
God.
Technically,
Honestly, if we did defending, they'd be less. Like
it's easier for me to like see it though.
That's true. Let's do all the things. So fairy, half against poison.
I mean, it's
Sure.
what it's like super effective against fairy. So I mean, it doesn't really
Okay.
make sense, but
I don't think fairies would be good
Sure.
against rock or bug. Or actually, I think it would be like less effective against grass because the whole nature thing. We're going with the nature thing.
well, wouldn't it'd be super effective against bug then, right?
Well, no, because bugs
I
are
guess
nature.
you're right. You're right. That's
Bugs
you're right.
are nature.
We're going with the nature thing. So would it be affected by fire then? I guess that doesn't really make sense because it's a spiritual type
Yeah.
ish thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
then
fire and water
maybe-
don't really make much sense.
And I think electricity is just like a-okay.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be a decent spread. I just thought it would have more super effectives.
I feel like we can have more super effectives.
All these super effectives are right. It is a neutral against grass actually, and neutral against bug.
Okay.
And the only other thing that resists it is fire. That's the one I always forget
Weird.
about because it's a little weird. But fairy is not very effective against fire.
Or poison, right?
Yep, or poison. So it's a pretty good offensive type. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
no kidding.
And defensive type, honestly.
Let's do dragon.
Sure, we'll do dragon.
I think
You already have dragon's resistances.
dragon is fine with rock and ground.
I would think that dragon would be super effective against bug, but there's also no reason for that other than me wanting to, say that.
Dragon squash
Bugs
bugs.
are just bad. Bugs are just
I like the bug
sappy.
type. I don't like bugs in real life, but I do like bugs in Pokemon life.
I think
Especially
it's-
Heracross. He's my boy.
Heracross.
He's so
Love how-
cute.
He's cute. I like Scyther. Scyther's not a... Well, Scyther's a bug type, isn't he? He's a grass bug, isn't he?
Flying bug.
Oh, he's a flying
Speaking of
bug.
which, I saw a huge praying mantis at the student union the other day. It was huge, like over a foot long.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's a big bug.
What a
though.
boy.
And it was just like hanging out on
I
the
think
side
it
of
might
the.
be double. I think it's half against fighting. I'm gonna say half against fighting.
I don't really see why it would be, but again, like who the
I don't
fuck knows?
It's either half or super. That's what I'm gonna say. I think it's half or super. But
I just want to know if it's super effective against all these elemental types or not. Like, cause that's the thing I don't know. Would it make sense from the RPG standpoint if
I
it
don't
was super effective against all of them? Yes, but I don't know.
I don't think it's super effective because that's a lot of super effectives. I think it's enough to be resistant to the damages because, like, you think about Pokemon, if it's resistant to your main damage type, and if they are just neutral, and neutral attacking, they get more neutral attacks out because they're resistant to your damage type.
Right, absolutely. No,
So I
I mean,
think
I
I think
don't
it's
disagree from a
enough.
balancing perspective.
I think it's
So,
All right.
you guys are correct. Actually, there's only dragon is only super effective against itself. But actually, it only has one resistance as well, which is steel.
Oh,
Okay.
that's why dragons are kind of OP is because they can just punch you.
They kind of transcend above everything else, basically.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no
no kidding.
Well, I
like nothing
Jesus
is
Christ.
nothing is super effective, but it's also not almost nothing is resists it. So
And
Yeah,
all their moves are insane too.
yeah, they have a lot of high power moves.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got going?
All
for
right.
Psychic.
psychic type.
I think.
Ooh,
Psychic
only 4 left.
Is neutral? Oh, cause we. Well, let's go. Let's do this.
Ooh, I just got an email. If anybody's interested,
What about?
you'll hear that on screen. It's
Oh
from
my
the
God,
College of
Al.
Letters and Sciences, so nobody cares.
How fun. Yeah.
Oh, I got that same one. I thought you were like gonna be like, we got a thing from the man who's doing the article.
I did just get a confirmation that the 34 sonnets by T.S. Roach has shipped.
Ooh.
So that's fun.
I think it's like half effect. No, I think it's like neutral against everything. For the main types.
I'm just looking at its resistances and thinking, like, is it half effective against bug and poison? Well,
The people on the stream can see me going back and forth between like the completed one and the not completed one.
I would think that it was super effective against ghost. Seem to
So
recall
it
that.
used to be, but not
Right,
anymore.
right. You talked about this.
Didn't we do all the ghost?
Yeah, the ghost
I
type
think
it's
we
it's
did.
neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, the ghost
Yeah.
type defending. We
So
did. This is the problem now that we don't remember what we did defending, so now we're just like going over our own mistakes.
yeah, we should
I
just done these
think-
down the line.
Yeah. Okay. So neutral. We got all the neutral. It's a
Yeah.
bunch of neutrals. Psychic.
It's a bunch of neutrals.
Okay, so psychic is bad against itself.
Oh,
Like most
okay,
types.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense. That
Um,
makes sense.
and then psychic is also super effective against poison.
That's just a-
Weird.
I'm not sure why.
I think that's just a balancing. I think that's just balancing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. And then it's also neutral against bug.
All
I
right.
think psychic might look well. Let's see. It's better than
Well-
poison because it has less weaknesses.
Well, and that confusion status effect
Oh,
is.
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I messed up the bug one. Bug is actually not super effective against. It's not very effective against fighting.
that
that
makes
makes
sense.
I got that wrong.
Okay, so
Alright.
now just the
Rock.
3 to go.
Rock.
Rock.
Rignac.
I imagine rock is not very effective against fighting.
I think it's not very effective against psychic. I don't know. That makes sense. I think it's neutral
think
against all of our quote-unquote starter.
Yeah, isn't
I think
I'm pretty sure
strong against bug.
it's strong against bug. Yeah, I thought so.
I think it's
Is it-
probably half effective against stealth and
Yeah.
ground. I think it's weak against ground. Because what is the rock gonna do to the ground? Smash it? It's
You know, I
already
bet it's immune to
Ground.
poison.
It's
well,
already
there's no
smashed.
immunities left.
All right.
I'll say it's half to poison. Why not?
Okay. So most of this is right. So it is neutral against poison. It is also
Okay.
neutral against itself, which is I hear strange.
Ah.
You would think
well, to
I've
be fair, smash rocks together, they break.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's always one that confused me why that was neutral, but it is.
don't
Yeah,
do
but
good or
half
bad.
half against fighting, double damage against bug. It's actually super effective against fire. I'm not sure why.
Interesting.
And it is neutral against psychic, but everything else is right.
I think maybe it's because rock is weak to water and grass, so maybe it's a weird balancing with that. But I don't know. I
I'm
don't know.
not
I feel
sure.
like that just kind of screws rock because rock types are always like the first gym, and so fire is always having an issue with the first gym.
It's what I'm finding really interesting now that I'm looking at this is how a lot of the a lot of the super effective or resistances are coming from the like elemental types like fire, water, and
Hey,
grass.
Stop that! Stop that!
I fixed
Um,
it.
But then also like steel, which is like the one like man-made type, like has the most resistances. I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah,
It's
it is
Gundams.
interesting.
Maybe it's because Gundam.
Cause
I'm just gonna say
Gundam.
it's because Gundam.
All right, flying or
Nothing can
ground?
kill a Gundam. I think we're doing ground right now.
Okay.
You're doing ground right now.
Half effective.
We're
against
almost done.
defending. We got this. We're only gonna be over by the 40 minutes that the allotted time. Ground and psychic. Neutral against psychic. That makes sense.
That'd be kind of my guess, but I don't know. What do you want to change, Morgan?
Yeah, ground kind of seems like one of the trash Pokemon sort of things. Like it's just
Well,
kind of like they're fine.
It's
kinda like
doing all like
normal.
maybe
Ground
I've
and
given it
normal
too
are
many
very-
super effectives.
Ground and normal seem like they're kind of similar to each other.
Okay.
I really like Sandshrew for context.
So
I love
ground
Sandshrew.
type is actually a lot better than you're giving it credit for.
I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. So ground is
My
super
brain-
effective against poison and rock and fire.
Wow. Wow.
It is neutral against water though, and it is actually half against bug.
Okay. That's
but,
fine. That I can imagine.
But everything else is right.
That is dumb. That is, now you've laid that out for me, I'm like, fuck, that's crazy.
So ground is one of the best offensive types. And actually,
is it super effective against rocks?
I'm not sure. Actually, if you do the rock and the ground type, you get if you have like a rock and a ground type move, like you have 2 of those moves on your set, you can hit almost every single Pokemon for neutral damage between the 2.
Nice.
So.
I know that I imagine they had an idea of what they wanted to do for the earthquake move pretty early on and how they wanted to type that. And they just said, well, if we're gonna have earthquake as a ground move, then it has to be super effective against rock.
Yep, totally.
That would be my guess.
I have no idea what I'm doing with this. We're just gonna copy and paste some things.
No, I think you're probably right.
Maybe I think it might also be half against ground.
There, that's a thing.
So flying is super effective against fighting.
Why?
It is.
I guess nothing really is actually that effective against fighting. Fighting's actually like pretty clear, but yeah, okay.
It is super effective against bug as well, and it is neutral against ground. Let's see. It is neutral against fire. Oops. Neutral against fire. Super effective against water, bad against electric. It's neutral against ice. And yeah, that's it.
So super effective against grass or super effective against water?
Super effective against grass and neutral against water. You guys, we did it.
We did do it. We got through.
Sorry it took so long. Sorry.
Well, looking at to be fair, me and Ren were just like, for the first like 30 minutes, we were like, what do we do? But yeah, flying is weird. I always thought flying was one of those. It's kind of like flying is another one of the tack-on thing. Like anything with wings has flying, which makes sense. But like it's never the main.
Yeah.
Type. Like you have birds, but like sparrows are mostly normal, who happen to have wings. So like.
David, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So bizarrely specific question. I'm looking at the other tabs again because I have time to. Why the fuck did they give Wheezing fairy type? Like explain that one to me.
So Wheezing is a fairy type in Galar, which is the newest one. They have these things called regional variants where
it's one of those. It's like a lowland executor, otherwise known as the worst thing mankind has ever imagined.
It's cute.
Oh, boy.
No, so actually,
it's
Galarian Wheezing is cool because it's based off of like the old smokestacks of London, and it's a fairy typing because like it has, rather than like actual noxious fumes, it has like this special steam that is somehow like fairy typing. I don't know. But what's interesting, and this is kind of the last thing I just wanted to talk about, is that a lot of these like there's all these other graphs that like visualize like the super effectiveness or not very effectiveness, or what type is best to defend against or as good as best to battle. And it's just got all of these interesting kind of different maps to show you the relationships between all the types. And I just think it's so interesting that for a kids game that it's so complex that it needs all of these, or it can have all these different ways of constructing what the battle system looks like.
I think need is probably the term that is being put. It maybe has too much pressure on it.
Yeah, I'm
not sure Pokemon ever needed to be this. It sure is what it is. And by the way, I like Pokemon. It's just that this is the sort of thing that makes my head hurt after 3 hours, and I can't imagine people have this absolutely memorized like you do, David.
I'm insane.
Like oh god. Because again, it gets more complicated. This is the basic configuration of the game.
I like that Mr. Mime is fairy type.
Yes, Mr. Mime is fairy type now.
For me, it doesn't surprise me to have this stuff memorized, because you meet, um, like in my time of playing Magic, you meet people with this like encyclopedic knowledge of Magic in a way that it just doesn't make sense to me. Because I'll be like, well, okay, so if I play this card, how does that work with this? And your encyclopedic knowledge, it's like sometimes you'll just say, I have this card, and they'll know exactly what card you're talking about. Or what happens is you go, hey, I have, like, they have this encyclopedic knowledge of the interactions, like they have the attacking and defending sort of idea, and they'll just like, okay, well, that interacts with this, that interacts like that interacts with that, but this cancels out this, and they have this. People who are like experts in Magic boggle my mind because my brain doesn't quite understand the layers of the onion, of the Magic onion.
Yeah, and I think some of it's just what are you predisposed to understanding, right? Like one of the things that stops me from being good at understanding Pokemon stuff is that it's not a material game. It's immaterial insofar as you can play it on your device, but the device is material, the code is not. And so like if Magic, if I read 60 cards 100 times because I keep playing rounds, those cards and their rules get burned into my brain. But like a bunch of digital typing, I'm much less apt to actually remember that,
See, and I could probably tell you the typing of every single Pokemon. And, I mean, if you showed me a Pokemon, I could tell you the name.
Sure.
I've just played it so much, right, that the recursion. Thank you, Anthony Giddens.
Is Fan Game Follies just going to be Pokemon Trivia Night?
Oh,
Let's just make it
wish.
Pokemon
I
Trivia
hope.
Night.
But it's like the recursion, right? The repetition,
right.
The repeated playing of it, but within variations, right? Of Pokemon is over the past 20 years is the only reason I can learn all this stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like people who play Magic for like 20 years have that same sort of build-up knowledge, or anyone who plays any game for any amount of time, if they're interested in it, will build up this incredible knowledge of the game. And like people who play Final Fantasy for a long time, you can be like, hey, I was watching a guide and I saw this animation. They'll be like, oh, hey, that was this thing. And it was an AR and Heavensward and Stormblood, but then they got rid of it halfway through Stormblood. And everyone was sad because it was a cool animation. But in Shadowbringers, like, they have this timeline and also what it did. Like, they have this very engrossed memory. And I think that's kind of what games, why humans strive, or why like Pokemon is almost enduring in a way for people who play Pokemon, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, David, is the ability to constantly learn, or like there's enough data for Pokemon that it's not gonna and you can dive into it. Like you can pattern match, you can do all what the human brain wants to do.
Categorization.
Like, they want to pattern match, categorize, do that kind of stuff, look for intricacies, figure out strategies, do the puzzling. And I think that's why people like Pokemon so much, and then also why they get salty when Pokemon is too easy. Because they're like, I want to play Pokemon, I don't want to win Pokemon, I want to play Pokemon.
and that's what I will talk about when I start playing a little bit of Pokemon Reborn is the difficulty curve of people who have played and enjoy the system. Like me, I love the system of the game. I have it memorized. I think it's something that's actually really robust and really really effective and actually really well balanced mostly. And like when you just add a more difficult rendition of a Pokemon game, I think it gets really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to cut it off there because I'm getting tired.
That's a good preview for next week when we talk about Pokemon Reborn.
Next week we'll talk about Pokemon Reborn. I'm not sure exactly when I'll play it. I think it'll be a couple hours earlier, maybe around 6 or 7-ish.
Nice.
That'll be better.
Which will be better.
I'll pop in later, but I can't come at 6, so we'll
okay,
we'll
maybe 7 then. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But thank you for joining us, everybody who popped in today.
Yes.
Boldash and Tombalaya and Cricket.
Cricket.
And everybody. So thank you all for coming.
Cricket.
And it is time for me to go to bed and brush my teeth.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.